90 minutes southeast of Tucson lies a landscape untouched by big developers, nurtured by its people.
Welcome, I'm Farmer John. I'll be your driver as we go out and pick pumpkins.
You Pick Farms attract visitors to Willcox, Arizona every year, each of them craving a slice of the simple life.
You never know when I might hit a tree. It's been about 3 weeks, but you never know.
John Holcomb moved here for work in his early 20s. As a wildlife biologist, the opportunity was appealing.
I'd like you to go out into this field or this field and select one pumpkin. Let's go get a pumpkin.
What he didn't know was how fulfilling life here would become.
This is fun, teacher.
As if they've been let loose in a candy store, the children run free.
It's fun to grow the pumpkins, and then it's more fun to have the kids come out here and enjoy them.
While John keeps busy in the pumpkin patch,
Here, get up here. Now put your arms out. Oh yeah, you can do it.
a lesson is taught in the corn maze.
When you sit down and eat dinner tonight, every third bite of food that you eat was pollinated by a bee.
Ann Holcomb, John's high school sweetheart and wife of 35 years, is the teacher.
I love teaching the kids. I love seeing their smiling faces and their interest in what I have to tell them, and it amazes me that they sit quietly and listen. Can you tell by looking which one is the queen?
The one in the middle.
The one in the middle, exactly. And for a lot of them, this is the first and maybe the only time that they'll ever be on a farm. So, we put a face to a farmer for them so they know what a farmer is.
It was only a couple of years ago that they acquired the farm. Before then, life for the Holcombs was all about Apple Annies.
I thought about it for a couple days, and it just came to me that why not name it after my wife?
5 miles from the farm sits a 320-acre orchard.
We bought 20 acres, built a house, and never intended to spend the rest of our lives here.
Soon after the Holcombs moved to Willcox in 1976, they began a business with John's parents.
The University of Arizona did an economic analysis of growing apples in the Sulphur Springs Valley, and it looked like the hardest thing to do was to figure out what to do with all the money we were going to make.
The Sulphur Springs Valley offers warm days and cool nights, a perfect environment to grow apples.
So we planted the trees and thought we could just water them and we'd have apples. We came back a week or two after we'd planted them, and the rabbits had eaten 10% of them, had killed 10% of our trees. And that was a real slap in the face to a wildlife biologist.
On top of that, there was another unwanted visitor.
The trees bloom, and at that time they're susceptible to frost. If it gets cold, the bloom dies and we have no fruit.
They had been told the valley was a frost-free zone. Just short of calling it quits, family in California shared tales of picking apples at their local orchard.
And that just struck a chord with us, and we thought that would be fun to invite people here.
A classified ad in the local newspaper drew a small crowd.
So I don't know, numbers-wise, it was probably 15 or 20.
The first day? Probably. It was 24 years ago.
Today, Apple Annies host up to 10,000 visitors on a busy weekend.
I got 3 of them.
Of course, John and Ann needed help early on.
Matt was born in 77 and Mandy in 79, so
1980, huh?
you're right. Edit that part out.
Their daughter Mandy was 6 years old when they opened the orchard.
She could barely look over the top at the customers, and they never believed her when she figured out how much they owed for the apples.
But she was never wrong.
She was never wrong.
Intimidated by the crowds, 8-year-old Matt retreated to the kitchen.
He wanted to be able to make money too, so he invented the apple bread that we sell. Sometimes he would burn the bread, sometimes he'd get too much cinnamon, and people would fight over who got to buy the bread. The burnt bread, they'd fight over.
As children do, Matt and Mandy grew up and moved away.
My interest was in our kids finding what they wanted to do rather than me telling them what they should do.
Love begins at home, and for some, it's where the heart remains.
There's apples on the ground. You love apples, huh? I'll have to get you one when we get back.
Mandy returned home to raise a family.
What is it?
Her brother Matt came home too.
And it's rewarding for me to look at all these pumpkins and to see the job that my son has done growing them.
We just keep going. Little Energizer bunnies, I think, through the season, and then run on a lot of adrenaline.
Last spring, they ran 40 nights of frost protection.
We actually have more issues with frost here than orchard friends in Wisconsin do.
Though the complications never cease to exist, their 24 season ends like all the rest.
I love being Apple Annie and telling the kids about the food, and they'll hug us so often and say, you know, this is the best day of my life.
Most of the time they get the biggest that they can carry. Just about. The bigger the better. Whoop. It's our feeling that everybody has a purpose in life, and we're convinced that this is our purpose. This is why God put us on the earth.